Hello there, welcome to MarketSquare. My name is Oluwag Pelubi, and I'm glad to have you join me on the show today. So let me tell you what happened to me on my way to work this morning. Now, while I was coming to work this morning, an elderly man stopped me. I think he should be in his late 60s or early 70s. He said, "My son, can you please teach me how to tap?" I was confused. I thought he said type. So I said, "Sir, do you mean type or you mean tap?" He said, "Tap." Now, in my confused state, I looked around and I saw a tree. And I said, "Oh, okay, sir. My name is Oluwag Pelumi, and I'm a gentleman. I'm an MC and a presenter, and I really don't know anything about how to tap palm wine." The man looked at me angrily and said, "So you want to tell me that you don't have Telegram on your phone? That's how you people, Gen Z, you be making money. Tell us of our baby." No be me, oh, no be me, oh. Well, I have titled this episode TapSwap, and I have a guest that we will look at this together on the show today. Nigeria plans to delist the naira from all peer-to-peer crypto platforms to reduce the manipulation of the local currency in the foreign exchange market. This was revealed by Mr. Emomotimi Agama, who is the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. He spoke about the idea that the government seeks to delist naira from the peer-to-peer crypto platforms during interactive session with the Nigerian Blockchain Industry. This banning of the use of naira on P2P platform is a settled move, as the CBN, in collaboration with the Securities and Exchange Commission, is attempting to tighten every end to avoid manipulation. It is said that some market players were manipulating the value of naira, and explained that it is why the commission is seeking collaboration and help in making sure that the crypto environment is respected globally. There was a directive from the Central Bank of Nigeria to the fintechs mandating them to warn their customers against engaging in crypto transactions. Nigeria's new direction towards P2P, which is peer-to-peer, is a part of a broader government crackdown on crypto platforms, particularly Binance, which began in February 2024. Recall that the crackdown forced Binance to halt naira operations and led to the arrest of the executives who visited Nigeria to discuss the matter with the authorities. Authorities blame crypto platforms for aiding currency speculations and fueling the rapid devaluation of the naira. Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, who is the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, recently stated that about $26 billion flowed through Binance Nigeria in a year from unidentified sources. Now, my guest today is a personal finance coach, and he's been here before, and I'm glad to bring him back to even speak more on this. Welcome, Mr. Andrew Ogbeh. The last time you were on the show, we spoke about the evolution of money. In fact, it was published on last Saturday on YouTube, and we're getting quite some comments on that. I want to ask you, is there an update already on the future of money?
Okay, I don't think there's any new updates apart from what already exists, what we already know, that a new phase of money known as digital currency is here, right? So in the evolution of money started from the barter system. From barter, we started using precious stones and metals. We moved into gold, then started using fiat, then electronic money, where we now had e-transfers and the rest. Then gradually, in 2009, a technology called blockchain changed the world of finance. So we started having what is called DeFi, decentralized finance, which is what gave birth to cryptocurrencies, also known as digital currency. So it's the future of money that I believe so. Yeah, and that's what many experts think in this industry.
Now, there is a tap turn or tap swap act that many are into at the moment. Tell us what's that about.
Okay, I've also seen such. Some people have said things like tap your way out of poverty and the rest. Well, I'm always of the opinion that cryptocurrency is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you come into the space with a get-rich-quick mentality, you won't last long. You would fizzle out. And quite a number of the people who are excited about the industry right now are just excited because of the probably the recent happening with one particular cryptocurrency like that. But the people who are more interested in knowledge of the space are the people who are going to stay longer. Recently, cryptocurrency, we mine cryptocurrencies. And earlier on, the type of mining we had, especially with Bitcoin, involved heavy equipment, right? Mining with heavy equipment. But with growth in technology, mining cryptocurrencies became a lot more less energy consuming and a lot more less demanding when it comes to the physical gadgets you need. So right now, people can mine cryptocurrency with their mobile phones. So what has happened in the past couple of weeks is been a particular mining strategy that has been introduced in the cryptocurrency space, where you could mine cryptocurrency with your Telegram app, right, by just tapping on a particular cryptocurrency. But you see, like I said, if you always come with a mentality of wanting to get rich quick, you won't last long. If you come in from the point of knowledge, then you would understand the industry and take advantage of it. And even if it doesn't go your way, of course, so many other scam things are going to come up as a result of this, right? So many other scam things are going to come up as a result of this. And a lot of people are going to be tapping. But the people who will stay longer are people who will come from the point of knowledge, not just coming to want to make a few bucks here and there. Of course, mining cryptocurrency offers some rewards. It's one of the ways people make money from cryptocurrency. And that was why, through this mining technique that was introduced recently, quite a number of people made money, and it made the news and made a lot of people happy. I think it's just creating more awareness for the space, and which is not bad.
Okay. You spoke about the idea that those who seek after knowledge will only be the ones who will last in that space, and that's quite profound. Nigeria plans to delist the naira from all peer-to-peer crypto platforms to reduce the manipulation of a local currency in the foreign exchange market. What's your take on this directive?
Okay, I think the last time I was on the show, we talked about this, where, you see, I think the government is trying to, of course, they are trying to solve a legitimate problem, which is the massive devaluation of our currency. But I think they're tackling the wrong way. It's like trying to solve a problem from the fruit. When they delisted naira from Binance, they went after Binance and all that, we've seen that didn't also impact on the value of the naira. It didn't do so great. So obviously there's something not right, because recently the naira has continued to devalue, right? And we've seen it also going back to where it was. It was at 1,800 naira thereabout at that time, and right now it's back to around 115. So I've known, even while these things were done, that this is not the way to go. That this is not what is going to solve the problem coming against cryptocurrency. Now, come to think of it, now cryptocurrencies aid the influx of dollars into the country, right? One of the things that causes the devaluation of the naira, first of all, is that there is low supply of dollar in the country. So if there's low supply of dollar and there's a very high demand, what does that mean to the value of dollars? It goes up. So cryptocurrency is one of the ways that guarantees ease of flow of dollars into the country. So you are stopping that way. You're stopping that way. And apart from that, we don't have any foreign exchange, right? We don't have anything for foreign exchange. So there are so many things that could have been done in the right direction to solve this. We don't have, we are not receiving any foreign direct investment right now. Very, very, very low. We are not a producing nation. These are the things that can impact on the value of your currency, and not chasing after these guys, right? And recently, we've also seen that they've clamped down on some other exchanges. Of course, like I said, this is just going about the situation, trying to solve a problem from the fruit rather than from the roots. If you cut off the fruit, and the root is still existing, it will always find there will be other ways that the fruit will sprout. So that's what we are seeing now. There will be other ways, and if by this action, what I fear is that if by this action forces cryptocurrency, the federal government forces cryptocurrencies to go underground, transaction of cryptocurrencies to go underground, it's going to be more deadly for the economy. It's going to be more deadly. So what we should be looking at is, you see, this is a technology that is here to stay. How can we leverage it? Like I said in the last session, I said one of the ways I believe, you see, cryptocurrency, this digital space is here to stay. and we can leverage it to generate a lot of revenue. I love that the government is always looking for ways to tax, to increase taxes, ways to generate revenue for the nation. This is one very remarkable way that revenue could be generated, and this can only be done with these exchanges. But of course, these are the exchanges they are coming for are probably not locally based exchanges. There are also locally based exchanges that are fully functional. So I believe maybe what they are trying to do is to get these foreign guys out of business and see that they empower these local exchanges that we have, because there are so many of them. We've not had any incidents of any local exchange being restricted from trading with the naira and the rest. So that is what it is. Of course, it's going to deter a few people who are amateurs in the space, but the real people who do the real transaction would always look for a way, because the world is a global village right now.
Okay, but how does this directive affect crypto traders?
Okay, well, as it stands now, not all the exchanges have been restricted as I speak right now. Okay, there are still some that are fully operational, and so all that is being done right now is people migrating from a particular platform to another platform. So, of course, I may not want to mention platform on this call, but there are some certain platforms that I use, and what I've seen is that I've seen a great influx of more Nigerians into those platforms in the past few weeks, because probably when I started using some of those platforms, they were very low in number, but right now it's grown. So it's more like you close down a particular market and people just migrate to another market to continue their business. So that is what is happening right now. So it's not affecting as much. And let us assume that they finally go on, shut down on all the exchanges, all the foreign-based exchanges, and we still have the local ones that are still fully functional. So you can still get USDT in quotes, because what the idea is for people to just be able to get USDT or get BTC. And if they want to convert it to Naira, they can now use these other exchanges. And you see, like I said, it's a global village. There are so many ways that I cannot explore on this call. And I told you one of them. I told you about a particular, what's it called now? Social media app that does P2P transactions. And there are so many ways. That's just one of the ways. You see, when, they say necessity is the mother of invention. When this happened in 2020 and the federal government came in this direction, that was when the much talked about P2P transaction that we have today wasn't a big deal in 2020. Even prior to 2020, it wasn't a big deal. A lot of people were doing just direct transfers, right? Using their card to purchase crypto and sell their crypto and get paid directly through their bank. So, but in 2020, these banks were stopped from trading assets for virtual asset service providers. So P2P became the big thing, right? People started trying to learn P2P, learn how P2P works and the rest. So a lot of platforms started introducing P2P. In fact, Binance P2P became stronger at that time. So the whole Binance thing that we're talking about right now became even very much stronger. And the question again we need to ask ourselves is, Oluwapelumi, is that now Nigeria is just a tiny fraction. What about the other countries that are involved in this space? China, India, even the United States. There are exchanges that are fully functional in these countries. What are they doing? Why is it not devaluing their own currency? What are they doing in the right direction? Cryptocurrency is not a Nigerian thing. So we need to learn the right way. What are those nations doing? How are they being able to exist with cryptocurrency? How are they taxing cryptocurrency? Of course, those countries, we need to learn from their mistakes and from what they've done. They've tried to tow this direction we are towing right now, and they made some adjustments, and right now they keep making adjustments and the rest. So we need to learn and make those kind of adjustments so that we don't make the same mistakes that these countries are making. So that is my thoughts. Of course, how do traders change their money right now? People still do, because not all exchanges have been, Naira has not been delisted from all the exchanges. There are still P2P based. And even if that happens eventually, maybe it's just gradually moving. Even if that happens eventually, the world is a global village. It's a global village. That's what I can say. There are certain details I may not be able to divulge on this call, but the world is a global village. Nigerians would always look for another way. I'll give you one good example. You see, when they stopped, we couldn't use, I don't know if you remember when there was this restriction on our cards, all our ATM cards, that you couldn't purchase certain things online. You couldn't pay for your ads. If you're a social media business person, you couldn't do anything. There are certain things you want to purchase online, you couldn't. Nigerians came up with other means. There are other means, and people were paying, people were using. There are so many other means came up, and cards started working. So this is just going about the issue in the wrong way. The world is fast paced right now. It's fast paced, and technology is making things a lot easier. We shouldn't be trying to fight technology. Rather, we should be finding ways to leverage technology. I don't believe that technology would chase out AI or whatsoever would chase out all the jobs. I believe there will be a coexistence. Man will always find ways to survive and to thrive in the midst of these challenging situations.
The government has stated that this move is to ensure that the manipulation of the foreign exchange space stops. Now, some traders have called this move a false move. I've said that the idea that the government is saying that the cryptocurrency traders are the ones who are ensuring that the value of naira depreciates is untrue. And some have said that this move is bettered out of an ulterior motive. So I want to ask you, do you share their sentiment? Do you think there's an ulterior motive to this?
I may not think that there's an ulterior motive, but that is not completely true. Do you remember when it was said that it was, what's it called, this platform, Nigeria Blockchain FX or something? Yes, that was manipulating the currency and whatever. You see, I think we there's something we are very used to in this country. You know, the blame game. We play the blame game, right? We leave the actual issues. And look for things that are more sentimental, that the average Nigerian would appeal to the emotions of the average Nigerian. And I think our government have actually mastered our emotions to that extent. It's not completely true. Yes, it has its, before you can take advantage of something, there must be a loophole. These platforms or traders in this platform are not completely manipulating. They are just taking advantage of a loophole. You are a business person, just like what happens with petroleum, the fuel scarcity and the price. Marketers just take advantage of a loophole, and they exploit it because they are business people and they want to make more profit. So if you see a loophole, what do? You exploit it. So what should you do if you want to solve the problem? Is to go and close the loophole. Not to be fighting the marketer who is just a business person. Is to close down the loophole. The marketer or whoever is just trying to make more money, exploiting the opportunities that are available. So it's not completely true. It's not completely true.
Okay, now some have said that this is just a temporary move and not a permanent one in the bid to put some regulations in place before reopening that avenue for trading to take place. What do you think the government can do to block the loophole? Like you rightly mentioned, you said that there are loopholes, and these loopholes are the point where the manipulators are taking advantage. So how can the government come into this and make sure that these loopholes are blocked, but then reopening before reopening the cryptocurrency space for more people to come in and even for the government to make money from that space?
Okay, now this has always been my recommendation and what I think would work. Now, you see, one of the ways to regulate how cryptocurrency is being transacted or traded is actually through centralized exchanges, centralized bodies like this. Because on these centralized exchanges, they request for KYC, right? They do know your customer verification and the rest. Now, cryptocurrency on its own, it operates through a decentralized technology called blockchain. But if you must now convert your cryptocurrency, since cryptocurrency is not mainstream, if you must convert it to a local currency and carry out transactions, you must pass it through certain centralized authorities. Now, and these authorities, the government can verify them. They can check their activities. So what we need to do is to strengthen our regulations for this virtual asset service providers, strengthen our regulations, also strengthen local virtual asset service providers, strengthen them so that you can be able to monitor the activities, also tax them. Do you know the billions of dollars of transaction that happens on Binance, for example? Imagine if we're able to tax a certain income from it. Imagine through these virtual asset service providers, we're able to tax that kind of, do you know the kind of revenue we generate? You know, Nigeria, we have the population. We are like a third in terms of crypto adoption in the world, right? And we have the population. And we have a youthful population who have a growing interest in technology. So it means there's so much to exploit in that area. There's so much revenue can be generated in that area. And I think one of the easiest ways to get it done is through virtual asset service providers, right? Make it easy. Don't force their operation on the ground. The more you keep forcing the operation on the ground, the more you keep chasing people on the ground. Of course, when the proper regulations are put in place, the bad eggs will be fished out. I'm not denying the fact that there are bad eggs, just like with any industry. You find bad eggs, but with proper regulations, with proper guidelines and what have you, these things can be checkmated. And we need to learn from nations that have done it successfully and what they have done. So even if it's to come up with our own currency, our own, just like we're doing with the naira, even if it's to strengthen it, such that we can now tax Nigerians participating in cryptocurrency in a way through these virtual asset service providers. Now, that is a way that we can generate revenue. We can generate revenue from this space, because one of the pain is that we are not generating enough revenue from the space. And we're not saying that we can't generate enough revenue, but I believe we can, because it's an emerging industry, and we're going to see the influx of more Nigerians into this space. So this is one of the things I think the government can do. Now, with regards to manipulation of our currency, I'll say it again. You see, let's go and block the loophole. If you block the loophole, whoever that is taking advantage of this will not find that opportunity anymore. If the loophole is blocked, the opportunity will be found anymore. The loophole, one of the ways to block the loophole is through regulations. When they are properly regulated, right? When these companies, like it's laughable, when they said Binance had been operating in the country for how many years without license. The question is who authorized their operation in the first place? I think we should even be ashamed of saying that to the public, because this company has been existing, has been running, having their operations in the nation for God knows how long, and without proper regulations. Who was in charge? So these are the things we need to checkmate, so that these companies don't just come and exploit Nigerians. I don't know if you get, and they don't just bring in, they are setting money that can't come into the country without properly being taxed and without proper verification.
Thank you for coming on the show today, Mr. Andrew Ogbeh. It's always a pleasure to have you. I look forward to having you on the show soon. Now, let's do the numbers. Last week, the Naira showed a remarkable recovery, gaining some grounds against the US dollar. The Naira started the week then at 1,468.99 Naira per dollar and reached a weekly low of 1,485 Naira per dollar before eventually settling at 1,481 Naira per dollar on Friday. This difference in exchange rates has affected the customs duty collection, which has now risen from 1,467 Naira per dollar to 1,480 Naira per dollar, just below the official market rate on the NatFem market, which stood at 1,482.81 Naira per dollar. As of this morning on the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, the value depreciated by 0.14% from 1,478 Naira per dollar to 1,480 Naira per dollar, and the Bureau de Change rate followed suit by depreciating by 0.33% from 1,493 Naira per dollar to 1,498 naira per dollar. In the latest report released by the National Bureau of Statistics, the growth rate for the first quarter in 2024 was at 2.98%. Now on the screen right now, you can see an image that speaks about that. It speaks about the fact that the nominal GDP for the first quarter of 2024 was 58.86 trillion naira. Now, the nominal GDP is the calculation of the total value of everything produced in the country at current market prices. And if you are going to go by the inflation figures for the month of January, February, March, April, you observe that the price of foodstuffs, got to a high level. Yeah. In March, we spoke about the point that the food inflation for the month of March was over 40%. Yeah, 40%. So nominal, it's expected that the total value of everything produced in the country, Nigeria, in the first quarter of the year, everything sold was about 58.86 trillion naira. Now that's a lot of money. Now, if you're going to put it in context of the real GDP, the real GDP was at 18.28 trillion naira. 18.28 trillion naira. So you use in economics, you use nominal GDP for a short-term projection, and use real GDP for a long-term projection. So we can base our conclusion based on the nominal GDP figures. We need to put into place put in perspective the real GDP, which was around 18.28 trillion naira. Now, the image on the screen also tells you about the trajectory of the GDP from 2022 in quarters. In the first quarter of 2022, you have it there that the GDP grew by 3.11%. In the second quarter of 2022, you have it there that the GDP grew by 3.54%. Check out, if you also look at the GDP figures for the third quarter, you see it was around 2.25%. And then if you go to the fourth quarter, you have 3.52%. There, the figures I just mentioned now are for 2022. Now, if you go to 2023, the first quarter was around 2.31%. If you compare that to our figures today for the first quarter of 2.98%, you will observe some level of increase there. Now, in the second quarter of 2023, you have it that it was around 2.51%. Third quarter 2023 was around 2.54%, and then the fourth quarter of 2023, the figures was at 3.46%. Okay, so it means that GDP grew at 3.46%. If you compare that to the figures we have on ground, you will notice a change and a difference in the figures for comparing it month on month, to say quarter on quarter, rather, to say fourth quarter of 2023 and first quarter of 2024. And all of these are not new to anybody. If you're in Nigeria, this is not new to you. The price of foodstuff has risen really high. I mentioned already that we had about 40% in the increase of foodstuffs as projected in the March inflation report as released by the National Bureau of Statistics some months back. So that's the change we have observed there. And the second image you should see to tell you about the top 10 contributing activities to real GDP in the first quarter of 2024. And topping that list is the crop production at 19.24, followed by the trade, 15.70, followed by telecommunications and information services at 14.58. You also have crude, petroleum, and natural gas at 6.38. You have financial institutions at 6.35. You have real estate at 5.20. You have food, beverage, and tobacco at 5.11. You have construction at 4.01. You have professional, scientific, and technical services at 3.19. And then you have other services at 2.51 there. Now, the other image you should see, which is on your screen right now, is the It's an analysis of everything, analysis of what I've spoken about. Now, check out this side. You have the contribution of oil and non-oil sector. The green, you have like a circle there. You have like a circle that has green and red, and it's saying to you that about 93.62% of the GDP published, the contribution came from the non-oil sector. That's the meaning there. And then the red part that talks about the contribution of the oil sector to the GDP. I've called on the show today. It contributed about 6.38%, 3.68%. And then if you go further down, you would see the contribution to real GDP. You have it there that you have agriculture, you have industry, you have services. You have the green part that speaks about agriculture. The deep green there speaks about services, and then the other part, the blue part, speaks about the industries. The contribution of industries to the real GDP, we have said about over 18 trillion naira here on the show. Now, the point is that we have it there that people spent more on services. They spent more on services than the other part. Yeah. So if you work, for instance, as a service provider, in that maybe you are a master of ceremonies, you are an MC at event, MC event. So I can tell you that MC event, you are a barber. You barb people. You make hair, most likely you must have increased your price. I have increased my price as an MC. Yeah, I have done that. And the last time I went to cut my hair at the barber's shop, I paid more than I used to pay before. So speaking about the fact that more people paid more money to have services rendered to them in the first quarter of 2024, because they don't have, or what they can do is to increase the prices. So my barber now uses a clipper that is charged, or that's rechargeable, so that it doesn't go to get petrol anymore. He just charges it goes to a place to charge, powers is rechargeable clipper, and then brings it to his office there and barbs. And once he's done barbing, he puts it off again, waiting for the next customer to come. And then he has this rechargeable bulb that when maybe I go there to barb in the night, it has a clean space there. It puts on the bulb. I really will not even I may not even be able to tell if it's from the discos or it's a rechargeable bulb. But I get there and everywhere is lit up. I have my haircut and I leave when I am done. So bear in mind that all of this, it's despite the fact that we have seen the removal of fuel subsidy, and you can also tell that from the moment it was removed, from the second quarter of 2023 that it was removed, you see how that the GDP grew because there was inflation in the country, and things became more expensive for people to get. So all of this is in spite of the removal of fuel subsidy, in spite of the proposed but now abandoned cybersecurity levy, in spite of the electricity tariff hike, and in spite of the ongoing minimum wage negotiation. Now, when that is agreed, when the government and the Labour Congress decide an amount that they want to pay workers are to get for working, what that would do is most likely, this is my projection, by the time we are looking at the figures for the second quarter of 2024, we would most likely see an increase. If you observe, the trend is that first quarter is low, second quarter gets high, third quarter gets higher, just like we saw in 2023, and we might see that trend repeat itself again in 2024. Now, I want to get your comment on this. Do you think this represents the actual thing? Do you think this represents reality? And you can go, you can visit, check out the playlist of MarketSquare and to see the other episodes on POS saga or minimum wage saga and even cybersecurity saga. And just to repeat what Mr. Andrew Ogbeh said on the show as to the fact that we had done an episode already published on Saturday about the evolution of money, you will understand what this crypto thing is to a very good extent. My name is Oluwapelumi Awe. I'm glad you joined in today. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.